Ni hao wada pangi outside Jungur. Watch out, Thomas Geiger, and today at ifeng.com I'm presenting you the next generation BMW X2, or to be precise, the iX2, because this car also comes as an electric version. If you want to know all the details about the smallest SUV coupe from Munich, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you all about it. Before we start driving and finally get behind the wheel of the iX2, let's just take a short look on size and shape of the car. Both have changed dramatically. The shape is less provocant than before. The car is more in line with X4 and X6 now, is more coupe-like, not as aggressive anymore, but the size has grown significantly as well. The car is almost 20 centimeters longer now, 4.56 meters in length, and that is mainly to the benefit of the rear seat occupants and the trunk volume. If the driver benefits from the new size and the shape as well, that's what we're gonna figure out next. So join me on my first test drive and see how the car performs. When you get behind the wheel of the iX2 in this case, or the X2 in the petrol case, you immediately feel at home, especially once you know the iX1, because the layout of the cockpit is similar. Big screen, no iDrive controller anymore, but lots of space in the center console instead. 2 layers, big pocket for your smartphone, inductive charging while watching the screen, so that's all good. And it also feels familiar because it drives like a BMW. It is pretty stiff on the road and it has a pretty sharp steering, as you might expect it from a coupe. So you have a pretty good feeling for the road. When it comes to driving, you have the option of up to 300 horsepower on the petrol side, or 2 electric versions. An iX2 eDrive 20i means front-wheel drive, 150 kilowatts motor on the front, or an iX2 xDrive 30i means 2 motors, 230 kilowatts and all-wheel drive. The energy comes from a battery with 64.8 kilowatt hours, which translates into a range of up to 478 kilometers in the WLTP cycle. All fine so far. While the petrol engines go up to 250 kilometers per hour, you can accelerate up to 170 kilometers per hour with the electric versions, so also faster than many of the competitors. When it comes to charging, the iX2 slows down dramatically and loses its pace towards the competition, because AC charging with 11 kilowatts might still be okay, but DC charging with 130 kilowatts is way too slow these days. There are cheaper competitors doing a better job. Talking about cheaper competitors, let's take a look at the prices as well. The petrol versions are starting with roughly 47,000 euros. The electric versions are starting with 49,400 euros for the i20 in Germany and 56,500 for the i30. So typical BMW. Also, when it comes to pricing, it is a little bit ahead of the crowd. Thanks for joining me on that first drive with the new BMW X2. In this case, the electric version as the iX2 30i. A car that somehow leaves me open-minded. On the one hand, I really like the way it drives, and I kind of like the way it looks. It's not as aggressive as the outgoing model anymore, but it still sticks out of the crowd. And especially when it comes to electric version, it is unique in its segment. There is no German competitor. The usual suspects, BMW, Audi and Mercedes, only BMW is present in this segment. A Mercedes EQA is too lame and too small, and an Audi Q4 e-tron is too serious and too big. So this is the young, wild, aggressive vehicle in the segment. And on the other hand, I'm really impressed how BMW has stretched the family from the reasonable electric version up to the funny M35i petrol version with 300 horsepower and that punch that you expect from the ultimate driving machine. So this is the good side. The bad side is the price range, which we're somehow used to from BMW, and the charging power of the electric versions, because it charges only with up to 130 kilowatts, and some volume brand competitors are much better in this case. But improvement is on the horizon. BMW is working on the Neue Klasse with new battery generations, with new power generations, with new charging generations, and in a few years this car will charge faster than ever before and everything will be fine. Thank you, 谢谢, 再见, and goodbye.